Good morning everyone, I am Cyberly Racohos from BSE2 Math. Now, we will prove sets of arguments. Before that, we were going to explain first what is an argument for us to understand well what it is. So what is argument? An argument consists of a set of statements called premises and conclusion. So, sa examples natin is may-encounter natin tong mga to. It can be written in symbolic form using letters and may mga underlined words din na makikita sa mga example which is meron siyang antecedent and consequence. Considered valid if the conclusion is true whenever all premises are assumed to be true. Pero sa mga matatakal natin mamaya is makukonsidered natin itong valid kung meron siyang rule na ginamitan natin. So, while it considered invalid if there's no rule that we use to identify it. So, here in our first two examples, we will able to form the logical symbols for each argument using the letters being underlined. So, sa mga na-underlined na letter is ma-identify natin yung mga premises and yung antecedent and conclusion or consequence. So, then we are going to identify further the rule of inference used to arrive at the conclusion. So, number 1, if you have confidence in yourself in class, then you will achieve better performance. You did not achieve better performance, thus, you did not have confidence in yourself in class. So, as you notice here, the underlined letter is C and A. What we are going to do now is to analyze the given argument properly, and we will notice that we have two statements here before the conclusion. So, yung nauna nating statement is, if you have confidence in yourself in class, then you will achieve better performance. And yung sumunod is, you did not achieve better performance. So, sa dalawang statement na to is makikita natin or mababasa natin sa argument na meron tayong dalawang premise. So, ano nga ba yung premise na tinatawag natin? For us to understand, premise consists of a sequence of statements followed by the final statement which is our conclusion. So, yung final statement na natin is yung conclusion na natin. If you have confidence in yourself in class, you will achieve better performance. So, sa word natin if is ito yung conditional statement natin and yung then naman is yung implication natin. So, as we notice, the underlined letter here is C, A. Kaya C implies to A. So, ito yung first premise natin. Kasi if and then yung statement or conditional statement. So, yung second statement natin is you did not achieve better performance. As you notice, meron na tayong statement na ganito which is yung naunang statement, you will achieve better performance. But the difference here is, dito is meron siyang word na not, so alam naman natin na ito yung negation. So, yung second promise natin is not A. So, we were in the final statement or our conclusion because of the term thus. Thus, you did not have confidence in yourself in class. As we observe or as we notice in the first statement, you have confidence in yourself in class, we will notice that it is the negation of this. So, yung final statement natin is not C. Thus, not C. So, yung dalawang premise natin which is C implies to A, not A, therefore, not C. So, ano nga bang rule na meron dito para maging valid itong statement na to? So, the rule that we use here is modus tollens. Kasi we notice na hindi na pwede yung A, kaya hindi na rin pwede yung C. So, number 2 example, if an animal is a python, then it is a reptile. If it is a reptile, then it is a snake. Therefore, if an animal is a python, then it is a snake. So, as you notice here in the statement, the underlined letter is P, R, S. What we are going to do now is to analyze the given argument, and we will notice that we have two statements here before the conclusion. So, yung first statement natin is, if an animal is a python, then it is a reptile. At yung pangalawa naman is, if it is a reptile, then it is a snake. Now, we are going to do is determine the premises. So, the first statement is, if an animal is a python, then it is a reptile. So sa word pa lang na if and then is manonotice na natin na it is a conditional statement. Sa if an animal is a python, we have the first antecedent which is the underlined word which is letter P. And the next is then it is a reptile. Our consequence here is letter R. So, yung first premise natin is P implies to R. So, let's proceed on our next statement which is if it is a reptile, then it is a snake. From the first statement, we will notice that our antecedent now is if it is a reptile. Pero if we will notice the consequence of the first statement, as we notice here in the statement, then it is a snake. So mapapansin natin na meron na naman tayong bagong consequence na which is underlined the letter S. So our second premise is R implies to S. So we were in the final statement or our conclusion because of the term therefore. Our conclusion is therefore, if an animal is a python, then it is a snake. Our antecedent here is P and our consequence is S. So our conclusion is P implies to S. Therefore, P implies to S. So, P implies to R implies to S, therefore, P implies to S. So, ano nga bang rule na ginamit natin dito para maging valid ang argument na ito? So, it is hypothetical syllogism because here in our argument, we have two premises wherein they are both conditional statement. You'll notice also that the consequence of our first premise is naging antecedent na siya ng second premise natin. This form was the reason which we imply that P implies S.
Let's proceed on our next example. Studying can help you live an efficient life or studying can make you a successful person. Studying does not help you live an efficient life. Therefore, studying will make you a successful person. So what we are going to do now is to analyze these statements if it is valid or invalid, and we also determine the rules of inference that will apply here. So, the first is studying can help you live an efficient life or studying can make you a successful person. So, as we read this statement, we have here the or. So, which we have a symbol that is letter V. So, if it is an upside down letter, V, then it is and. So, kapag baliktad na V, ito yung symbol na and. So, yung first statement natin is, studying can help you live an efficient life, which is our P. So, meron tayong naka-underline dito na E. So, ito yung first statement natin, letter E. Studying can make you a successful person. So, before that, meron tayong or dito. So, yung or is letter V siya. And, ito yung Q natin, yung sisilbing Q. So, S yung underlined word doon. So, meron na tayong first premise which is E or S. So, which is the underlined word in our statement. Next statement is studying does not help you live an efficient life. So, in this statement, we will notice that meron na siyang does. Yung pagkakaiba natin dito sa nauna is wala siyang does not. So, alam naman natin na kabaliktaran siya ng ating antecedent dito. So, yung kabaliktaran niya is not E. The negation of this E. So, not E. So, ito na yung second premise natin. So, let's proceed on our final statement. Therefore, studying will make you a successful person. So, ito lang yung statement natin sa unang premise, which is yung consequence natin. So, ito yung consequence natin sa unang premise natin. And, kung mapapansin natin na walang nagbago, pero naging conclusion siya. So, S. Therefore, S. So, ano kayang rule nito para maging valid. So, ano nga ba yung rule niyan? So, kasi if we have two premises such that one premise is a disjunction of two statements, and then the second premise is the negation of a statement. Therefore, it must be Q. So, P and or Q. But we denote it by the underlined word here in our statement. So, kaya, ang rule nito na ito is disjunctive syllogisms. Disjunctive syllogism. Kaya, valid yung statement na ito kasi may rule tayong ginamit. Let's proceed on our next example. If it is summer, then I will make ice cream. It is summer. Therefore, I will make ice cream. As we notice here that it is have a two statements before the conclusion. Our first statement is, if it is summer, then I will make ice cream. So, our P here is, if it is summer, and which is also our antecedent, or we denote as the underlined word which is S. And our Q is, I will make ice cream, or we denote as the underlined word I. So, our first premise is S implies to I. And it is a conditional statement because of the word if and then. So, yung susunod na statement natin is, it is summer. Then, as we notice here is, ito lang naman yung antecedent ng una nating premise. So, ito siya. Yun yung second premise natin. S. Then, we proceed on our conclusion or our final statement, which is, therefore, I will make ice cream. So, kung titignan natin, is ito lang yung consequence natin sa first premise natin. Yung I. Ito siya. Yung sa first premise natin is yung conclusion natin dito. So, therefore, it is I. So, ano kaya yung ginamit na rule dito para maging valid tong statement natin? So, ang ginamit nating rule dito is modus ponens. So, paano nga ba naging modus ponens ito? So, if we have two premises at yung pangalawang premise natin is antecedent lang ng naunang premise. So, ito siya. And yung conclusion natin is I. Ito lang yung consequence ng unang premise natin. So, kaya kapag meron tayong form na ganito, ang rule na ginamit dito is modus ponens. So, let's proceed on our next example. I will make ice cream. Therefore, I will make ice cream or I will watch a movie. As we notice here, we have only one statement before the conclusion. In our first statement, I will make ice cream. Ito yung P natin, or we denote it on the underlined word which is letter I. So, after this premise, we are going to proceed in our conclusion. So, kailangan muna nating isulat yung unang premise natin. So, yung premise natin is I. Let's proceed on our conclusion or final statement. Therefore, I will make ice cream or watch a movie. We will notice here that in our first premise will be the antecedent here in our conclusion. At may na-add lang siyang bago. Therefore, I will make ice cream or watch a movie. Because as we remember, yung or natin dito is yung symbol na letter V. So, we join a statement from a premise. So, yung I na ito is galing siya sa premise dito sa nauna. So, then our conclusion is I or M. Because as the underlined words, that will be our P and Q. So ano nga ba yung rule na ginamit natin dito para maging valid? And ang nagamit nating rule dito is addition. Why? Kasi as the word add will only add a statement from the premise. It is any statement will be able to add as long as we use disjunction or yung or na symbol natin. So, from our first statement is naging antecedent siya ng conclusion natin at nag-add tayo ng bagong. So, kapag meron tayong nakitang form na ganito is, it is addition. Addition. Addition rule of inference. So, let's proceed on our example. I will make ice cream and I will watch a movie. Therefore, I will watch a movie. As we notice here, we have a statement before the conclusion. As we notice, we will see the word and na pinapagitnaan ng statement dito. So, our first statement is, I will make ice cream. I will watch a movie. Then, as we denote it in our P and Q as our first premise is I. So, anong symbol ang end? As we said a while ago, end symbol is an upside down V. I will watch a movie. So, let's proceed on our conclusion or our final statement. Therefore, I will watch a movie. So, as we notice here, it is the consequence of our premise here. So, our Q, which is denoted as the M, which is the underlined word here. So, therefore, I will watch a movie. I and M, therefore, M. So, ano nga bang rule ang nagamit dito to make it valid? So, ang nagamit nating rule dito is simplification. Simplification. Why? Why simplification ang nagamit nating rule dito? Kasi we will notice that there is only one statement or statement and that is conjunction of statement. So, in our conclusion, either it must be P or Q. Pwedeng yung isang statement na P or Q ang maging conclusion natin. So, pag ganitong form is, it is simplification and this statement is valid.
So here in our example, we were going to give justification here in our argument to make it valid. We will also give the rules that are being used here. So, number 1, A. Number 2, A implies to G. As you will notice here, it is a conditional statement. Number 3, A implies to G implies to K. Number 4, G implies to K and applies to O, and therefore G and O. So, number 5, G. So, bakit nga ba naging G lang ito? So, anong ginamit nating rule? So, it is modus ponens. So, paano nga ba naging modus ponens yan? So, if we combine the number 1 and 2, which is A, and A implies to G. So, wherein yung dalawang antecedent niya is, itong dalawa, is same sila. So, yung natira lang dito is G. So, let's proceed on number 6. K implies to O. So, it is conditional statement also. So, the rule we use here is modus ponens again. So, paano na naman naging modus ponens ito? So, if we combine number 4 and 5, so yung number 4 natin is G implies to K implies to O. Then, number 5 is G. So, yung modus ponens natin, alam naman natin na if meron silang same na dalawa. So, yung G is same sila. So, yung natira na lang is K implies to O. So, kaya naging K implies to O yung number 6. So, number 7, G implies to K. So, paano naman kaya nakuha yung number 7? So, anong rule yung ginamit natin dyan? So, the rule that we use here is modus ponens again. So, paano naging modus ponens na naman? And because as we combine number 3 and number 1. So, number 3 is A implies to G implies to K. And number 1 is A. So, same na naman sila. So, sa modus ponens, kung ano yung same is yung matatanggal at kung ano yung natira is yun na lang. So, G implies to K. Kaya, naging modus ponens yung number 7. So, number 8 naman is G implies to O. Paano naman kaya nangyari yon? Anong rule yung ginamit natin dito? So, the rule that we use here is hypothetical syllogism. So, paano kaya naging hypothetical syllogism diyan? So, as we combine the number 7 and number 6 is number 7, which is G implies to K. Number 6 is K implies to O. So, as we notice here that the rule hypothetical syllogism is if the consequence in the first statement here will be the antecedent of the second statement. So, yung K natin dito sa first statement is yung naging antecedent ng second statement natin. So that G implies to O. G implies to O. Kaya naging hypothetical syllogism siya. And number 9 is O. The rule we use here is modus ponens. So, if we combine number 8, which is G implies to O, and number 5, which is G. So, yung modus ponens natin na rule is, kung parehas sila dito, kung ang matitira na lang is yung walang kaparehas. So, O na lang yung natira kasi yung G is same sila. Kaya, modus ponens ito. Number 10 naman is, the rule we use here is conjunction. So, paano naging conjunction naman yung number 10? So, if we combine number 5 with, which is G, and number 9 is O, is gagamit lang tayo ng symbol na AND, which is G and O. Kaya nakuha natin yung conjunction or yung rule na ito is conjunction. So, therefore, G and O. So, ganun lang yung mag-justify ng mga rules at by steps lang yung gagawin and kailangan mo lang mag-combine ng numbers which is para makuha yung hinahanap na rule. The attached photo here is the example number 3.